is Francesca. Welcome back to the Under the Covers channel. Today we are celebrating a little bit early Father's Day here in the United States, and we thought what better way to celebrate than to give you some of our single father recommendations. We have done a single dad's top 10 countdown on the blog. I will leave that link down below because you'll be able to see some different books on that list. Some of those are books that the other girls here at Under the Covers have read, so I will not be talking about some of those books here today. I only will be talking about books that I have personally read. So if you want even more recommendations, be sure to check that out. And you can always check out our tag for single parents in our reviews. I will also leave that link down below, but that does mix single moms and single fathers and single guardians. You can check those out as well. But today I wanted to talk about some of the single fathers that really stand out to me. They may not necessarily be the traditional single dad trope, so they are in no particular order as well. Just I grabbed stuff off my shelves and I made a list of the ones that I don't actually have in physical form, and I won't be talking about them in any order. So first on that pile is Christmas Eve at Friday Harbor by Lisa Kleypas. Now, why am I talking about a Christmas book? We are in June, but this is the first book in the Friday Harbor series. If you're not aware, Lisa Kleypas stepped away for a little bit from historical romances, and she did a few series that are contemporary romances, and I will be talking about both of those series here today. This is the first one, and actually this one is not a father, is a single guardian. The hero of this story is left as the single guardian of a 6-year-old little girl that was his sister's kid, and after her mother passed away, she doesn't speak. So he has to figure out how to help her, and then he finds the perfect woman when he meets Maggie, and she is actually a widow. Her husband of 1 year had died, and she's basically not looking for a relationship, but that special little girl is what brings them together. The next one I have on my list is Pipe Dreams by Serena Bowen. This is book 3, I think, in the Brooklyn Bruisers series. It's hockey romance. The hero is a professional hockey player, and this is actually a second chance love story. So the hero and the heroine dated for about a year, and then they broke up. Things fell apart between them. He went off and he has a teenage daughter, and he's a widower, and now he has an opportunity of reconnecting with the one that got away. And apparently, because I couldn't just talk about one Serena Bowen book on this list, I have Stay by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. This is book 2 in the WAGS series. It's also a professional hockey player, and this one is a divorced hockey player. And if memory serves me right, he has 2 adorable little girls. And the heroine of the story is actually working for him anonymously as his virtual assistant. Up next on my list is Misconduct by Penelope Douglas. This is a parent-teacher romance. The hero is a wealthy business owner, and he has a teenage son. And the heroine is a former tennis player, and she's now a teacher. Obviously, this is sort of a taboo relationship between parent and teacher. If you're a fan of Penelope Douglas, I think you could probably figure out what you can expect from this novel. It is pretty steamy, it's pretty angsty, and I definitely really enjoyed reading this story. I couldn't talk about single fathers without talking about Adam from the Mercy Thompson series by Patricia Briggs. Now, this is not romance, although there is romance, but it is an urban fantasy series. But Adam is one of those underappreciated heroes, and I just thought definitely had to stick him in here. I love his relationship with his daughter, and I feel like that is such a strong bond throughout the whole series, and it's also a bond that brings Mercy closer to him. Up next is Smooth Talking Stranger by Lisa Kleypas. This is book 3 in the Travis's series, and in this one, the heroine is left holding her reckless sister's baby, and the hero, Jack Travis, is a billionaire playboy, and she's determined to make him take a paternity test to prove that that's his baby, and so that he can take responsibility for his actions. One of my favorite single fathers on this list is Leo from Nuts by Alice Clayton. This is the first book in the Hudson Valley series, and it is small town sweet contemporary romance, although Leo was pretty hot. The hero is a farmer and the heroine is a private chef, but she moves back to their small town to take over temporarily her mother's diner. Lots of charm to this story and an adorable little girl. Another one that is also on my list of favorite families ever is Never Enough by Lauren Dane. This is part of the Brown Siblings series, and I absolutely love this family. The hero in this one is actually a rock star, and the heroine has been raising her sister's baby since she gave birth to her kid and didn't want him. So this is now 13 years later. Her sister dies and finally reveals the identity of the baby's father, baby who's now 13 years old, and the heroine decides that it's time that her adopted son and his father reconnect. Another single father that I absolutely adored and is one of those favorite book boyfriends is Drew from Egomaniac by Vi Keeland. This is more of an office romance. The single parent aspect doesn't come into the picture until later on in the book, but I really love how it's a twist on the typical office romance, because while the hero and the heroine share a space, they don't work for each other or with each other. They each have their own practice. They just basically share the entrance to their office. This is definitely a super fun romance, and I highly suggest you put it on your list. So one that I read recently is actually A Nordic King by Karina Haley, and this is a standalone. It is the romance between the widowed king of Denmark and the nanny to his two little girls. Up next, I have Built by Jay Crownover. This is the first book in the Saints of Denver series. It's a spin-off of the Marked Man series, and I really love this book. The hero is a rugged construction worker. He has his own firm. He's also an ex-con, so if you're playing Romanceopoly, it will fit for that. He is definitely alpha, but super sweet and kind. He finds out very early on in this book that he has a son that he never knew anything about. The mother never contacted him, and he only finds out that the son exists when the mom passes away, and he's the only hope that the child has of staying out of foster care. And in order to do that, he recruits the help of the heroine, whom he's had a crush on for a long time, and she's very put together, family lawyer. It's a complete opposites attract story. I adored it. It may be my favorite Jay Crownover book that I've read, although no, maybe that was wrong, I'm not sure, but definitely top 2. Up next is one of my favorite Rough Riders books, and is Cowgirl Up and Ride. It's the Rough Riders #3 by Lorelei James. The hero's divorced. He has a son. He's older than the heroine, and the heroine was actually the next door neighbor, or the next door farm neighbor, and because she's younger than him, he's never seen her as anything but that little girl that used to run around in pigtails, but she's determined to finally win him over. Like I said, it's one of my favorite books in the series. They're one of my favorite couples, and I absolutely adore his little boy. Up next is The Highlander by Kerrigan Byrne. This is part of the Victorian Rebels series. It's historical romance with, I would say, unlikely heroes. So if you're into bad boys and historical romance, definitely check this series out. But this one in particular, he has basically left his 2 children to their own devices most of their life. One is 17, one is 12, and he's been away from them while battling as Laird of Clan Mackenzie. So he now comes back, he's retired, and he has to try and make amends with his children, and the heroine is just the right woman to handle both kids and a demon Highlander. And the 2 books that I have left are again the trope of single dad and nanny. The first one is A Rancher's Heart by Vivian Arend. This is the first book in the Heart Falls series, and like I said, single father. He's been running his ranch for about 10 years since his parents passed away. He's got a lot of responsibility. He has 2 little girls. The heroine is looking for a fresh start in her life. She's made a lot of mistakes, and getting that position as a living nanny with the hero's family should be the perfect fresh start that she was looking for, except that they can't seem to fight that attraction to each other. And last but certainly not least, another one that I read recently is The Wrong Kind of Love by Lexi Ryan. In this one, the hero is an OBGYN. He's a small town doctor. He's always working. We know that he's a widower and he has a 6-year-old little girl at home, and he definitely needs somebody to help him take care of her when his mom decides that she's going on the trip of a lifetime. The Heron was really not supposed to be the one taking this position. She was supposed to be married and on her honeymoon until she discovered that the groom was actually sleeping with her twin sister, and her twin sister is actually pregnant. She runs away the day of the wedding. She does not go through with the wedding, and she decides to take her sister's place as the nanny for this family. And that is all the single fathers that I have for you guys today. I am definitely always on the lookout for more, although I think that I end up reading a lot more single moms than single dads. So definitely leave me your recommendations of your favorites that you've read recently in the comments down below, because I would love to check them out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found some new recommendations to check out. As always, don't forget to visit us on the blog at underthecoversbookblog.com. Follow us on Instagram. It's at UTCBookblog, and all our other social media channels will be linked down below. If you have any requests for recommendation videos that you would like to see us do, just leave them also in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.